What's going on, everybody? My name is Angel. If you would like to support this project, feel free to go to the Patreon I've set up for it. It is not necessary, but it is also very nice that some people donated $1 for projects they believe in. But with that said, let's get straight to it. We've got a lot to talk about. As you can see at the top, we have a new UI system to indicate timing and health. Now let's talk a little bit about the health bar. I'm sorry, the timer. So I decided to go with a bar instead of a descending set of digits, because with the descending set of digits, you're first of all required to use a font to do that, and fonts tend to fade in time, whereas bars are otherwise timeless. So that was one of the reasons why I chose a bar. Also, when you are deciphering the information within digits, it is a lot harder than with a bar, and I know that, you know, 2 digits is not an amount that's going to overwhelm anybody, but at a glance I just feel like a bar conveys better information. Plus I can make it color coded, so as of now you can see at the top, just etch a periphery that the time is going down, and once it gets red, obviously you got to really hustle, and timing plays a huge factor in fighting games, especially because usually people play safe until it gets down to the wire. With all that said, I've got a lot of big plans for the timing bar, but I don't want to disclose them just yet. I want to implement them first, see if they work, see if they're relevant, and if they are, great. It'll be another way that I would otherwise innovate with this game and not make it a clone of my other favorite games, like Tekken. This is going to be a lot like Tekken, if you haven't noticed. Alright, so we've got a health bar now. Now that the timer's run out, it's time to move on. So, the health bar, when you attack, you can see that he starts to lose health, and then this person starts to lose health, blah, 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 blah. And it wraps around. It's a nice curve that it wraps around in. And then when he stops attacking, you can see that the health starts to regenerate back to the top of the health bar. And if you were to get hit before that would happen, just turn on this controller here. Then, in tow with the damage of the original hit, he would also lose all of the stamina that he had otherwise forfeited to put out his combo. So you have to be very careful about what moves that you throw out, and you have to make sure that they land, because in a fight, not that I'm any kind of fighting expert, but if you're throwing out 10 moves and they all miss, your stamina is going to be totally fucked, and then the other person, when he hits you, it's going to hurt that much more. So I employed that kind of logic into the game. Obviously you saw her damage meter kind of animate, and it'll animate down to the amount that the combo is worth, and then stop once it descends down to that part, and then continue on through its loop, which is hard to explain and also hard to code, but when you're making a fighting game and you have to pay attention to these things, it's quite the motherfucker. Okay, so let's see here. I already talked about the timer, the UI. Okay, as you can see, there's a combo indicator that pops up on the side of the screen. 2, 3 hits, 4. Yeah, that was a 3-hit combo. There's a 4, 5 hit. And this is a 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you get it. So it pops up letting you know how much your combos are. And a combo indicator is nice because if you're doing something like this and you hold down R2, you can explode out of it. And the person who continues their combo for longer than it's supposed to, they sort of they screw themselves because they lose a lot of health. Because the other person could just explosion reaction out of it. And I talked a little bit about the explosion reaction in the previous video. If you miss the explosion reaction, then you leave yourself susceptible to an ongoing attack. So be careful about how you use that. Let's try and work through these as quick as possible, though. I'm sorry, you guys. I tend to ramble. We've got a new camera. So obviously you see that this is a little bit different of a visual setup than before. That's because I've taken away the Unity default camera and instead employed something from Unity Technologies, which was from a developer. They bought it out and they gave it to all their users. It's called Cinemachine. And I got it because the grab animations were not working right, but now it doesn't matter from which side I grab them. I have a small issue with the projectiles coming out in the wrong spot, but let's say he does the grab on this side. And you see the projectiles don't exactly line up and go to the right spot. Let's see if I like grab her from the side here, what happens. Yeah. For the most part it's working, but the projectiles, there's an anomaly. When they are released, they sometimes don't go to the right spot. So we also have a camera set up for her. Oops, wrong button. Shoop. You get a nice cutaway to his expression, like, oh shit. I'm going to put a little surprised expression there, so it's a little bit more interesting. But anyways, yeah, that's hers. No ducking and blocking. So in the last video, you saw that when you were ducking and they were attacking, the blocking IK system, which looks like this, would freeze and whatnot. Stop that. So if you're ducking, the arms aren't going to like fly up to the top, but obviously you can get hit with mids while you're ducking. Let's see here. Oh, I want to make it so that like if you were to be comboed, but you would otherwise duck an oncoming high attack, then the game will slow down and then you'll be able to punish them a little bit more effectively than you otherwise would have in that split second. So I'm going to look into that and we'll see where that goes. Let's see here. Oh, and by the way, I'm not doing ducking and blocking because really in a real fight, you are never, ever, ever going to block while you're ducking. So, and it's like fighting games, they were birthed with the idea that if you duck and block, you're impervious to all attacks, and then, you know, later on Mortal Kombat comes up with this overhead mechanic. I don't know who came up with it first, but I think Mortal Kombat. And then everybody else started to employ the overhead mechanic. For me, if you're ducking, you shouldn't be blocking. You should be running in a different direction, because that just means that you're a coward and you're cowering in a corner. So, don't want that in my game, so I feel like it's good to just leave the blocking to when they're standing, and if they're ducking, they can go into the high hits and then retaliate. But otherwise, it's silly to me. Alright. Increase the speed of the roam the longer it's held. Okay, so if you're running towards the opponent, and his run animation looks so weird, but it gets faster and faster and faster as he approaches the opponent, as does hers. Oops. So it's very hard to see from this this limited amount of space, but basically the faster they go, the quicker they get to the opponent, obviously, but then also I can program in things that are dependent on the speed at which the character is going and do things like a tackle or a barge through, a la Tekken. Again, this is going to be a lot like Tekken. It's my favorite fighting game, so why not? Deflected projectiles. Okay, this is big. Okay, you guys. So you guys remember Tekken Ball mode in Tekken 3, right? So you can deflect projectiles, because you cannot block them. You can only perfect block them, but when you perfect block them, they bounce back and... Okay, so sometimes the physics can't really catch up to things most of the time. So it'll go straight through the opponent. I've got to either slow it down... Oops. Got to either slow it down or make it so that the physics is a little bit more precise. But, you know, you can bounce back and forth. It can hit the original person, or it can hit the other person, obviously. Well, let's do that real quick. But anyways, yeah, this means, you know, a strategic player can otherwise run out the clock on a less informed player who's busy just doing the Tekken Ball mode thing. So there's plenty of scenarios where that can really work out. So super excited about that mechanic, even though it breaks after a while because the ball goes too fast to determine a hit for the character. Okay. We also have a new attack state. So if they're up in the air, before you could, like, you know, hit them and, you know, they could get hit while they're in the air. It's called the juggle in many fighting game circles. But if you do an overhead attack, this would be an overhead attack, they will bounce. So, yeah, I'll show you that one more time. So it's just another state that they can be in while they're being juggled, so things look a little bit more interesting and can be lengthened a little bit more. The longest combo I know is this, frankly, though. So, oh, I guess that didn't hit. Hold on, let me try. Yep. Shoot, that's a frame issue. Yeah, there we go, 4 hits. Okay, so that's as much as I know, but I'll be adding more to the system by their juggling. But that's just one of the things that I've done so far. And then I also changed the aura. You know, I've changed his animation. Whoa, what's with his twitching? Guys, the game has been acting very strange today. So I don't know. Yeah, oh, it looks like he twitches when she's on the ground. Hold on, get on the ground. Yeah, he twitches when she's on the ground. Okay, so there's a problem in my code. I've got to look into that. Never noticed that glitch before, but when she's off the ground, you don't have that twitching on his head. Okay. I'll turn on her controller, and actually that's a good idea. Let's walk around him while he does this. So he's not an effeminate character, he just is kind of a show-off in the book, so I decided to kind of employ that into his new animation for his power-up, because before... Oh wow, he's like not even looking at her. Wow, okay, I've got to fix the look at system when they come off of the ground, but anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, so before he was like powering up like a Dragon Ball Z character. He's not like that in the book, per se. Also, this is very heavily inspired by Dragon Ball Z as well, so let's not pretend like that's not the case. She's got the same animation, but a reworked smoke system for her aura. She's more of an evil character, so along with... It's very hard to play with with only two hands. But anyways, yeah, she's got her own projectiles. They're still bright when they explode. I've got to darken those up. But basically, she's an evil character, so she can, you know, send out these things. And okay, you can send those back and forth. And I want to increase the damage on those projectiles the longer that they're out. Okay. And that is it for things that you can see. Things you can't see, I fixed it so that when they are button mashing and everybody's attacking everybody, and well, she can get a hit in, goddamn. Yeah, there's no errors, you know, it all works for the most part. I can't notice any errors at this point, so that's good. Remove the hit particle from projectiles. If you remember from the previous video, there was a little hit particle that happened at their side that no longer is a thing, and then the head jitter from when they are on the other side of the opponent does not happen anymore, so it's pretty smooth. It's kind of lifelike, ain't it? But if they are on the other side and they duck, and this is not what I want, so she's like kind of looking at him here. You go to this side and she's like, okay, I'm not going to look at you. Okay, I'm going to look at you. But if you're on the back side and she's not looking at you, how the hell does she know that you're ducking? So I got to fix that. I also want to fix his ducking animation. He first of all doesn't go too low, and he looks like a creeper. So yeah, those are things you can't see, at least with this video, but you can go back in my previous videos and you'll notice that those are issues. To do, so I want to bring the camera up and out when the characters are in the air. Oh, I almost forgot to talk about this. So you can see that when you move like this, the health bars kind of do the motion blur thing, which I don't know how much I like that, but it is because I have it in a sort of world space. So although these health bars are sitting in front of things like the tree in the background, if the characters were to jump up in the air, you know, you see their whole body. Focus on the characters while you're fighting. That makes sense to me. There's no reason to have them hiding behind a health bar. So I've made it so that the health bar sits on top of everything. Oh, I'm sorry, that the characters sit on top of the health bar at least. So there's no obstruction there that way. What else? What the hell did I even bring that up for? Bring camera. Oh yeah. But you know, when they jump in the air, the camera doesn't necessarily go up along with them, so they can clip out of the scene. I want to kind of address that, and I have an idea in my mind of what to do with the rig. It would just have to employ a new bone and that bone's animation onto the relevant layers, which draw the player up in order to make that effect happen smoothly. But that's coming in time. Create bounce hit attack for canceling. Yeah, she doesn't have a bounce hit attack, so really when you go up in the air through her, like, she can't do shit. A lot of her moves suck too, so I have to like rework a lot of hers. Increased recovery time for projectiles. Yeah, so I don't like how fast they throw these things out. It's also fast. Deflect. Yeah, take that. The sections of the health bar, the remaining damage doesn't go to the next section. Okay, so I've got like basically 3 sections setting up this health bar. I've got the U shape, I've got the curve shape, and then I've got the straight shape. I've got to play with the variables to make them first of all descend at the same pace, which is going to be more challenging than I thought it would be, unfortunately. But also, when you go to the next section, the health, let's say that this is a section, this is a section, this is a section. If you're on this section and you have this much health left on the section, when you apply the hit damage, the damage only goes up to that point. But when you go to the next section, you've still got the full bar of health. I need to make it so that when you attack them and have like a little bit of health here, and that goes down, the rest of the damage carries over to the subsequent bar. And I think that happens with the stamina hits, but it doesn't happen with regular damage hits, so I've got to apply that extra damage. Hope that makes sense. And that is all I have for you guys. What's coming next is obviously a little bit more fleshed out animations, and obviously her bounce hit. The new logic to get the camera to kind of follow the characters in the air when it's relevant to do so, and then I can start work on a title screen and UI character selection screen. So this thing is wrapping up pretty quick here. I had a whole week off from work because I'm going from one job to another now. But I'm maintaining my old job because I really, really love it. But I'm excited for this new job because it pays really, really well. And I'm excited for this project because it's really, really interesting to me. So I don't know how I'm going to juggle all these things, but the long and short of it is I'm going to get as much done on it as possible. Again, if you'd like to support it at any capacity, the way to do that is on Patreon and also through the comments and likes on the videos. That's all the encouragement that I need to keep this going, and frankly, a lot of the time I find myself just picking up this project and working on it just so that I have something to talk about with you guys. So yeah, feel free to let me know what you think, any ideas that you disagree with, or if you would like to see certain things in a fighting game and you think that this is a good one to employ those ideas, feel free. I really wanted to get to some of your comments that you posted on the previous video, but alas, I don't have any to look at immediately. But I'm pretty good at responding to, frankly, everything, or at least liking everything that's posted. So yeah, don't hate me. And that's it. Sorry for rambling, it's the coffee.